Welcome back, guys, to BobbyBluford.com and my new motivational / inspirational series. Today is Monday, February 17th, Michael Jordan's 50th birthday. And for many of us who grew up watching this global icon, this phenomenal basketball player, him turning 50 is pretty depressing. Pretty depressing. To think that somebody who I grew up with watching, not when I was a kid, but high school and college, is turning 50 is a sobering thought. But what it did tell me and what it did remind me of this whole week as I'm watching ESPN specials about the greatness that is Michael Jordan, it reminded me about brands, and it reminded me about personal brands, not necessarily corporate brands that we come to know so well, but brands at a personal level. Because while Michael Jordan was a phenomenal basketball player, and we all remember him for his phenomenal dunks and his tremendous defense and his 6 NBA titles, 2 3-peats, mind you, and his 6 NBA Finals MVPs, and the tremendous competitor he was. All those things are true, and we remember him for that, but we also remember a man who turned himself into, arguably the biggest celebrity outside of Michael Jackson or a few others in the history of celebrity. He became a global icon. He made being bald-headed cool. He made wearing earrings cool. He made the baggy shorts cool, chewing gum cool. All those things he made cool. He made cool because he became, again, arguably the biggest icon on the globe for over a decade. And evidence to that is in the fact that over a decade later, after he retired, his brand is still synonymous with excellence and hard work, and it's still being worn. I mean, you have NBA players like Chris Paul, Carmelo Anthony, at the prime of their careers, at the peak of their careers, wearing his brand, wearing the Jordan Jumpman brand on their shoe. And for athletes of their stature to do that says a whole lot about what Michael Jordan was. And so again, today I'm going to talk about brands at the personal level, because again, what Michael Jordan taught us and we can learn from is that our personal brands are very important, and whether we want to admit it or not, whether we accept it or not, or like it or not, we all have a personal brand. I have a brand, you have a brand, and whether or not we choose to navigate and guide that brand is up to us. But make no mistake about it, there is a brand for everyone, for all of us. And we, for the most part, are the brand managers. Unless you're rich and famous, and I'm not, then you are in control for the time being of your brand. And I urge that you don't sit idly by and allow your brand to be built by the world, built by people around you, by circumstance. I ask that you take control, and I urge that you take hold of what your brand is, of what your brand says to the world. Because at the end of the day, that allows you to do what you want to do. Your brand is the first thing that will come to mind. It will lead. It will be the leading indicator of who you are as an employee, as a person, as a friend, and it will speak volumes to you and what you want to accomplish in life. So today, I urge you and I ask you to think long and hard about what your brand is, about what you want it to be. And the delta between those two is the work that needs to be done to bring those two in sync, so to speak. And to do that requires some thought, it requires some effort, and it requires that you be cognizant of the fact that every day, everything you think about, everything you do, every word you say, everything you wear, every encounter with someone else impacts what your brand is. And I ask and I urge that you make an effort every day, starting today, to make that brand be what you want it to be. Okay, it could be whatever you want. I'm not saying what it should be. I'm just saying that you should realize that everything you do impacts that. You might want to have a brand like Nike that is cool and hip. You might want to have a brand like Ferrari that's fast and sexy. You might want to have a brand like Tiffany that's classy and elegant, or maybe just like Ford trucks. That's tough and durable. But whatever you want your brand to be, it's likely that it's not quite there yet, and it's never going to be there. And that's the whole point of what I'm talking about, is that every day, even if it is there, every day you must continue to make sure that you are feeding that brand and enforcing it positively, so that you are managing what the world sees you as. Now for me, for my brand, for Bobby Bluford, I want my brand to be one of hardworking, dedicated, motivated, intelligent, driven, hardworking, great father, great husband, great son, great brother, and great friend. And I'm hopeful that every day I wake up, I take steps toward improving upon that brand and not steps backwards. Sure, there are days when what I do is a detriment to my brand, but my hope and my plan and what I seek to do is make those days far and few and far between. And so what I asked you to do today, again, is to make sure that the steps you take today and tomorrow and the next day are actions that you control and that you cognizantly and mindfully make sure that those are what you want to do and that they enforce your brand. Now, speaking of brands, again, my brand, as I said, I want it to be one of intelligence and drive and motivation and inspiration and honesty. But part of who I am, and those who know me know this, is I'm a fitness freak. And so, speaking of that, I got to go get a workout in. I got to go work on part of the brand that I call Bobby Bluford, and so that people, when they think about me, will continue to think about all those things that I mentioned, but also a guy who's in shape. And so with that said, I'm going to sign off now. But remember this. If you want to have what others don't, you got to do what others won't. Okay? Remember that. Until next time, have a great day, and I will talk to you all soon.